What's going on, y'all, man? I wanted to make this video for y'all, man. As the coding therapist, I definitely want to make a video for y'all. Today, I know a lot of people love to run to like neat code and elite code, but the truth of the matter is that, sometimes going after what's popular, you still may not have the particular guidance that you need, especially with starting off with DSA, data structure and algorithm. So I'm gonna share my screen here and I'm gonna kind of give you a small little lesson here. Um, does it let me share? Yeah, let me share during the. All right, y'all. So right here, so basically, um, when we talk about DSA, right? It's like a few categories, right? You definitely want to be able to deal. Matter of fact, let's just do this like this. I don't feel like because I don't have my pen writing. So what I'll do is we will just write here. You know, with DSA, you know, it's a few like topics that you want to make sure that you can handle, right? The first is like strings and then arrays, right? You want to be able to understand, how strings and arrays work. So, when you start problems, you want to be able to, if it's asking you to find the longest string or substring and, or the longest word in an array, you want to be able to do these problems. And you should be able to get fairly good at these problems within a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks at the max, unless you have just been introduced to coding, then it may take you a little longer. But if you work diligently, you can work on these such problems, right? And so, and then you want to move to certain techniques here, right? So let me get back in the box. I hate when it does this, y'all. All right, so let's make that one. All right. So we're gonna get back in the box here. So now, like, you want to think about like the two pointer technique, right? This is most of the time when you like when you think about the problem, and I'm gonna draw the problem over here. Um, when you think about an array with numbers, right? And it doesn't have to be sorted, right? It can be whatever. Let's not make it sorted. All right. So, say for instance, if we have a problem like the famous two pointer problem on Leet Code, which is one of the first problems, is say given a target, and our target is, say our target is 8, right? So it's saying given a target, you know um find two numbers that equal to 8, right? So you may want to sort, right? You can do sort, or you can use cache, which is, you can use a hash map, things like, or frequency map, things of that nature, or anything of that. You can use so many different tools, but we know caching would give you the fastest lookup, because it basically, you would say target minus number we're on, whatever number we're on, is it inside of the cache? If it is, then we found our target, and that's the fastest way. But you can also sort. So we would sort this. You can sort here, and in a lot of interviews, people need to understand that, like, when I have went through interviews, that it's more about like getting to a solution, right? You can always try to refactor or talk your way through a refactorization, but like usually they give you a somewhat decent problem at the beginning, and then they may want you to iterate on it to be a little bit more advanced. Especially with like software engineer one positions or apprentice roles, things of that nature. But anyway, let's go to this problem here, because this is a famous problem. So we're gonna sort this. So we sort it, right? And it's built in functions in whatever language you want to use, uh, to sort the array. And then we will start like a left and right pointer, right? And basically what we'll want to say is, So say for instance, if I had this problem and it's you know, what is it called? Just say we just say find target, right? And we're given an array and we're given a target, right? And I'm writing this in Python, and so we may define our left and right pointer, which our left pointer will be 0, and our right pointer will be length of array minus 1. Like I'm getting the last element, right? And so we would say, you know, while, left is less than right, we will come here and say, let's say answer equals, no, matter of fact, we'll say while left is less than right, we would say, if left, if array left plus array right equals, target, then we know we can go ahead and return true, right? And then we could say, if elif, well, this is in Python, y'all, so I don't want to get y'all mixed up. If a array L plus right is greater than target, right? So if it's greater than the target, then we'll want to move the pointer that's the highest, right? We'll want to move that back one. So let's see here if I can get this pointer here. I'm trying to make this a little fast for y'all, 'cause I know it's hard. But if you want to learn, this is the best way to learn. Slow it down, take your time. So we would say, right, you know. So basically, what it will do is we will be moving this pointer here back here. So let's get a target here. So we'll say target is 4. So target equals 4. Target equals 4. All right. So we're already there. So I'm gonna do a dry run through it, right? And then we can say else. Um, and then we can say else. Then left plus equals 1. All right. And then if we haven't found a target, then we can return false out here. All right. That means that we have set up a while condition. So while left is less than right, you know, if we found target, we're gonna go ahead and return true. If left plus right is greater than target, then we're gonna move the right pointer back, and then else L pointer forward. And if this condition is met and we haven't found the target, then we're gonna go ahead and return false, and that'll give us the correct answer for this. Okay, and so let's look at a dry run. All right, so I'm gonna start back over here, and make sure you take your time to um, just look over this problem and really try to get a mental map of what's going on, right? And take notes. And if you're doing notes in the IDE or something like Notion, make sure you make the notes for you. Don't try to copy anybody else's note taking, because you notes don't have to make sense to anybody else but you. So that's what I always tell people. Right. So we got our target is 4. So we get in this loop while left is less than right. Well, we know 1 plus 5 is 6. That's not our target. So we're gonna move to the LF. Is left plus right greater than our target? 5 plus 1 is 6. Is greater than our target. Then we need to move the right pointer back. Right. So then we'll come back here. Right. So this is what's gonna happen. And this is what you want to take your time doing on any problem. I don't care how easy it is. If you dry run it, it'll start to create patterns in your mind, and you'll start looking at problems and reading problems and like, oh, that's a 2 pointer. Oh, that's a whatever algorithm, right? So now we're going through the same thing. While left is less than right, have we met target? 1 + 4 is 5. That's too much. So we know if it's too much, then we need to move that right pointer back again. And so we're gonna move that right pointer back again. Now we're gonna start back over in our loop. Left is still less than right. Um, is left plus right. AR left plus right. Array left plus right equals target. 1 + 3. So guess what? We get to return true here, right? So we found our answer because we found 4, right? So that's one of the common ways of like understanding two pointer. Okay. And so that's what it is. Now let's do one that we're not able to find a target, right? So we could say what we can't find here. We're not gonna be able to find 10 here, right? So we would start here. Um right? I'm not gonna be able to find 10 here. So let's do this. Oh no. The okay. It's not acting right, y'all. Okay. But anyway, we'll do the dry run, right? So we know our new target is 10. So we'll say target equals 10. Okay. So we know here, we're going back through the loop. Let's see here. Let's do, okay. So let's go back through the loop here. All right. So while left is less than right, it's not our target. 5 + 1 is 6. So we're not going to be in else because this is not more than our target because this is only 6 and we're looking for 10. So now we're going to move that left pointer forward, right? Yep. So we're going to move that left pointer forward. 7 is not the target. We'll move the left pointer forward again, right? 8 is not our target. 9 is not our target. Now, because left is not less than right anymore and it's still not our target, then we return false. So that's what I want y'all to understand is because we made it all the way through our loop condition, our while loop, and we were not able to find target, so we're going to return false, right? And we see what level this is on as far as Python is concerned. Now I know some people will be using JavaScript because that's mostly what you use in like the web development side, but I challenge you to learn a little basic Python because it'll be easier for you in um in interviews, right? This site right here, y'all, and this is really what I really want to get to. This site right here is gonna help you a whole lot. This is one of those sites. He has a walkthrough video. He has approaches, and these problems are. He has a lot of free problems, and he goes one section at a time. Like you start off with like strings. He goes to binary search. He does those things. But I want you all beginning to start off exactly what we talked about, right? We want to start off with these type of problems, and then like you're finna see me do one now, we're gonna do a sliding window problem. Okay. So this is what I want you to focus on for the next month or two, even while you're learning, even while you're learning React, even while you're in JavaScript, even if you're going into Node and Practicum. These are like the areas where you should be focused the most, right? Because most of these, entry level positions or apprentice roles, things of that nature, are going to ask you some things like that, and then also like you know interval problems. But I won't get too much into it because I don't want to overwhelm you. But it's basically where in JavaScript, you learn how to like get name and date out of array, right? So if, and this is just basically here, All right, come on, y'all. Let's see here. Basically, if I had array equaled, if I had an array that equaled like Seth, and then I had a date in string, a date in a string method, right? Right. So, bit learning how to just understand like destruction the array, so you can have both separate values, things of that nature. But anyway, let's move on. All right. So let's go ahead and solve this problem. It says write a function that takes a list of numbers and a size k as arguments. The function should return the maximum product of subarrays that contain exactly k elements. Now, I know a lot of y'all will be like, what is products, right? So those are some things that you'll start looking up. And the more you do problems, the more you'll understand. So, matter of fact, that's the first level. What do I understand about this problem? So I understand we need to return a subarray with the max product, and I'll define this while we're here. It means multiplication, right? And k range, right? So whatever k is how long our subarray needs to be. Okay. Okay, and it says you can assume k is less than or equal to the length. So we know k is gonna be good. You'll find out much more about how to ask the interviewer about edge cases later on. Don't focus on that now. You can assume k is less than or equal than the length of the input list. You can assume that numbers of the list are non-zero. So we're not going to have any numbers with zero, but we can see in the examples we could have numbers that are negative, right? But it's okay because we're multiplying, right? So basically, what I want to do here, and I'll kind of say, I want to have I want to define like what's going to hold my product or my count. So I want a count variable, right? I want to have a count variable, and then I want to have a max count variable, right? All right. And so the count variable is to keep up with how much is being added up throughout the k elements, right? The k element size. And then max count, I can find the max between count and max count, as you'll see. And you may be a little bit confused now, but it's okay. I'm going to walk you through it. Okay. And so, what we need to do is we have to control the sliding window, making sure that every time we reach k size elements, we remove the first element and add the, I say, I plus one element, right? So we're going to remove the last element and we're going to add the next element, right? So basically, what I want to do, like I said, we're going to create a count variable. Now we're going to say, because we're doing multiplication, we're going to say one. We'll just leave it at one, and then we'll say max count is equal to, and in Python we're going to use like a float negative infinity, and it's basically anything, you know, because we're dealing with the negative numbers. You could have, negative times a positive and it'd still be a negative number, right? And so if we place that to zero, it wouldn't go backward, right? We'll have some type of error and we won't be able to find the max count. And so, yeah, so we can't initialize that as like zero. All right. And then what we want to do is, because we want the start to be our starting position. So we want the start to be at zero, zero index and nums. And then we're going to say for end, right? This is the part of the window that's going to be moving. Okay. This is the part of the window that's going to be moving. We're going to say for end in range, we'll say 0 and length of nums, right? Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say for n, and as long as we, for the length of nums, and then I don't have to do math unless I take like the first. Okay, let's go here. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say count, and because we are looping through, so if we're starting at like the first two elements here, right, and say k is 3, then I need a way to my count to multiply 1 by 4, 1 times 4, and then it's going to be 4 times 2, and then it's going to be 8 times 1, and that first product there will be 8. I hope I make that simple and plain. That's how this will go. And because we're at 3 here, right? And what's going to happen, like I said, we want to make sure that we remove the first because we need to go to the next 3 numbers, right? So I'm going to get rid of the 4, and you're going to see a neat trick here, and I need to add on the -9. All right, so count is going to be, because we're looking for product, is going to be multiplication times nums n, and this is finding, every time we move forward, it's going to be multiplying count by the nums n, so the sliding window effect, right? And then I'm going to say, um, if end minus start plus 1 equals k, then guess what we want to do? We want to say max count. Now we want to find the max count. And the way you do that in Python is max, which is a method that returns the max of, the elements that's in it. We'll say max count and count, right? Yeah, I think that works, right? So yeah, we'll want to return the max of max count and count. And then what we'll want to do here is, because we're here now, right? So now, because we have found what we need, now it's time for us to get rid of. And the way you get rid of, you're gonna say count divided by equals nums start, right? This is how we get rid of the first element, right? So if we have 4 times 2, and what we said was 8, right? So let's erase this. Um, let's erase this, and I'll explain this, then I'll let y'all go. But hopefully y'all are taking notes and you're repeating these videos that I'm putting out, and let me know if they're helpful, right? So we're gonna take that array. We'll say 421, 421 -9, blah blah blah. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say 4 2 1 -9, and it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna do a small one here, right? And so this is our end, and this is our start, right? And we know count is gonna be multiply equals array n, right? All right. So basically that's what it is. So it starts off here, and say, and then let me put this here so we can make it simple and plain as well, so you understand. K equals 3. So the size of the elements we need to get to is 3. All right. And this is actually how it starts. So let me take this back. All right. Gonna start here. Right. So 1, which is count. What count started off, right? Count started off as 1. Right. So 1 times 4 equals 4. Now we're going to slide the end. It's going to keep running this loop. And now it's so 4. So 4 times 2 equals 8. And then we're going to say 4 times 1 8 times 1 equals 8, right? So our answer right here for this window, and I'll draw a little window here, is 8, right? Cool. Now you're saying that I'm getting rid of this number because we done found the k size of elements. Now we need to move our start up one, and we need to move expand our end. And so what we're doing is doing this. So we need to move our startup one, and then we need to do our count multiply equals hold on. Is that right? No, no, no. That's gonna move. That's gonna I think it's here. Return the max count here. I think that's all we gotta do. Because oh, I'm sorry, y'all. So start. We gotta move start plus one. We got to move it up, right? Because once we gotta move our left pointer, our right pointer is moving. It's gonna keep moving. It's gonna keep moving in our loop, right? Bam. So we get the answer there. But hopefully I'm making this make sense. So with the division part that I want to show y'all. So we got 8 and I want to get rid of 4, right? So I'm dividing that by 4, right? So in order to get rid of that, I'm dividing num starts by 4. And if I do that, it's going to be 2. And then when I move the start 4, the end is going to automatically slide. So let's show the example of what's going to go on. So we got rid of 4 there. And now our new window is here. So if you can see, what is 2 times 1? 2, right? And that was 8 taking off the first element. And so it's a little tricky, and I don't want to get too advanced. I want to leave it here, and I want you to be able to work through these things on your own. But let me know that you like the video. If I need to shorten it, if I need to slow down, if I need to stick with one subject, let me know. But this is something that you can replay. And when I do have time, I will make videos, and I will do some mock interviews as well. The main thing that I want y'all to focus on, to tell you the truth, is soft skills, being able to come out the shell just a little bit, because when you talking with technical interviewers, they are answering questions about your personal life, and if you're not used to talking to people, and I'm not scaring you, but it could make you feel kind of standoffish. And the way software engineering is moving, you want to work as a team, you want to work with a team. People need to like your input, and you need to accept input and those type of things. So that's probably the greatest gift that I can give you, is just start working more on your soft skills. You'll learn these things because all of y'all are very brilliant. So just make sure that you're paying attention and you're working through these problems. But try this site, y'all. It's structy.net. And like I said, I'll show you how it looks. Like he will give you an approach video, right? And it's Alvin. He'll give you an approach video, and he'll actually give you a walkthrough video, right, of him solving the problem. And it's okay. Go ahead and watch both of those videos before you even attempt to do it yourself. That's how I got better. That's how I got better at it. I watched all his videos and I followed by. But anyway, and this is with a free account. I don't have a paid account, but he gives you all of these for free. So the ones that say free on the side, those are free, and he gives you the same thing with every single one. So like this one, approach video, right? And this is what we was talking about earlier, like and I saw this one. This is Tucson, basically in leak code. But anyway, I'm not gonna talk y'all head off. Hopefully y'all like the video. God bless y'all. Y'all enjoy y'all day. See.